Hi everyone, welcome to Code Kamkaj YouTube channel. I hope everybody are doing good. Today's video we will be discussing about one of the tasks. The task is that we are going to take a backup of MySQL database, which is running in your local with the help of Airflow tool, which is running even in our local itself. So stay tuned till this video. We are going to have and visualize the discussion on this concept. So first, I'll walk you through the like a schematic diagram, and I'll explain you what we are going to perform, and later we'll jump into the practical discussion. So here, this is my local laptop. I can consider as a Windows laptop currently I'm using, and here my MySQL database has been installed on the Windows subsystem Linux, and the Airflow server has installed on Windows subsystem Linux. So I have it is clear for everybody that how to install Airflow and on your Windows subsystem Linux by watching in the last videos or the previous videos. If you're not, so I request you to watch the installation video and come back to this video. Fine. So the task that we are going to perform that both MySQL and Airflow, both services are running in our local itself. Our requirement is that we would like to take a you know you can call it as a dump, or you can call it as a backup of MySQL database with the help of Airflow at each and every minute, and it has to save into our home directory. That's our requirement. Again, I'm recalling it. We are taking help of Airflow to take the backup of our MySQL database and each every 1 minute. So you can ask me, hey, why it's every 1 minute? It can be after every 5 minutes. It can be every 1 hour. It can be every day at midnight or something. So it can be any time. Like you can take a backup of your database. But just to make you more understandable, that's why I have taken every minute. I'm going to take the backup of my MySQL database. Fine. So I hope it is clear. We are going to take help of Airflow, and we are going to specify and mention Airflow that hey, this is my all database username and credentials. We'll discuss that in a practical section. But yeah, with the help of Airflow, we are going to take the entire backup of MySQL and storing into the home directory of our Windows subsystem Linux. Fine. I hope it is clear for everybody that what we are going to perform by schematic diagram. And I hope everybody are install Airflow in the local, which is running on 8080 port. You can customize it. You can run it on any other port if you want, and you just need to follow the commands, and you can run it on any other ports if the 8080 port has occupied. Fine. So I'm going to walk you through the script that I have written in my Python language, and I'm going to explain each line of script what I have taken and what we are going to perform. So this is my entire script that I have conveyed to my Airflow server, that as it understandable language or understandable format you can call it. So yeah, we have already discussed about this format. If you haven't, please go and watch the previous videos. So the first one, here I have imported required libraries such as Airflow modules, and I have used a DAG, which use for defining my workflows. And there are a few Python operators that have execute my function task, and have specify some settings and everything, where it starts. And I have some standard libraries, guys. Here the one is OS and sub processes. I have taken some standard libraries where you regularly use to interact with the Python or to automate or working with any file operations. And I have a MySQL connector where connect to the MySQL database via my Python and through my Airflow. And the finally I have a date time library which will generate the timestamp for my based on the file name that I'm going to generate as dynamically whenever I run my source code. Fine. Yeah, these all the imports that I have given in my file. And the next one, I have the default arguments for dags, which are the owner of the dag, and depends on the past, whether the task depends on the sub process of any old task or previous runs or previous task. And email on failure, I just turn off the email notification. And I have at the end I have retries, which is a number of retries if my task got failed. So it is going to retry for one time. So it can be, you can customize it for two or three, or up to your as per desired values. At down I have defined the DAG, which is a direct acyclic graph. So I've scheduled the interval here, like specify the cron schedule, and here I've scheduled my intervals, and it has to run on every minute, and the start date, days, I have mentioned it. So when to start the DAC, and I have a catch up, which is prevent the job for past date. So I've specified this only, which is going to prevent my running jobs for any past days or something, it's going to be up to date. That's all. I just have given some description, and I've just given some, my DAG name, which is a DB backup DAG every 1 minute. This is my DAG name. So this DAG name will reflect into your Airflow. So be careful, whatever name you are going to give here, this is going to reflect similar into your Airflow web UI. And the next, so connecting the database. So here I have written some function called as a connect underscore to underscore db. So I have used a MySQL connector, to connect the establishing connection between the MySQL server, and I'm going to check if the connection is successful. Then I'm closing it. So by passing the host, user, and password. So here I have hard coded. So if you don't want to do this, you can go and use this all information into connections in a web viewer itself. So I don't want to make more complicated. That's why I specify here under the connections itself. And if you don't want hard coded, if you don't want to expose this sensitive information, you have amazing UI. You can go and do the same configuration into going to admin and connections. There you can specify it, whatever host name and username and passwords and all. And I'm going to check it, if the connection is successful, and then I'm closing it. And I have included some error handling, it's going to print any errors has been rises, and it is going to print the exceptions if the connection got failed. I've just have specified those all over here. And I have mentioned the task one, which is the a task one of my entire Airflow, which is connecting to DB function and first of my task workflow of my entire Airflow. So what it will do, it will call the Python operator, and it will run the connecting to DB function where I have mentioned here, and it is going to collab with the Python collab, and DAG is DAG. So whatever DAG name you have specified, those DAG name will be append to this one. Fine. So the next task that I have specified over here, that dumping the database, which means taking the database copy and storing into the respected place. So I just have defined the database name, where I have used this database name into my MySQL. So as I mentioned, if you don't want to hard code it, you can have amazing UI. You can go and configure it. And the next one, I use a MySQL dump to create the SQL dumps, and I specified the passwords for these. The respected command, MySQL dump hyphen u root hyphen p, and I have specified the default saves, where it has to go and save directly to the my home directory and the name of dump and the timestamp. So whenever you run it, so it's going to capture the time and it's going to run it. And I have passed my all my sensitive information called as a username and password along with my command. And it has some redirections of output, as I mentioned, dump file path. And I have some sub process where it execute the shell command. It will check true, ensuring the task fails. If the command runs, it's going to be specify the error over there. So those are information about the dumping task. The first one I have mentioned about my DB name, and later I specified the timestamp. So whenever the this particular task has run, it's going to append the dump file name along with the timestamp. So it's going to save to my this default dump file path, which is home dump. It's going to append the dump. Each file is going to start with the dump underscore db underscore dump underscore timestamp. So whenever it has run, it's going to append the timestamp dot sql. It's going to stay over here, and this is the command where it is going to authenticate it. It is going to take the file path and it is going to dump it. And this is also a sub process where I'm going to execute a shell, and later it's going to say that print database dump directly to the respected path. This is the path it is going to specify it, and it's going to return the path over the end of the function. And here I'm going to run the task, the second task, which is executing the function, and the second task of my entire workflow. At the end, I have the ensure task one, which is connecting DB2, runs before task two, which means first it has to execute the task one, later it will go for task two. So this is where I have mentioned the task dependency. So first it has to take the, first it has to connect to the MySQL database. Later, once it is succeeded, then it has to go for dumping the database. So that's how I have mentioned the task dependencies. So these are the the code that you have specified to doing this task, connecting the MySQL and dumping it, and by following up in the default structure, and you can say a skeleton of MySQL, how we can convey it. So These are all things that we have discussed here, which is going to be do which we are going to take this entire code and pasting into the MySQL DAX, and we will see how it's automatically performing the action. So yeah, I hope it is clear for everyone that what we are going to do with the help of this entire workflow. And we have two tasks. One is connecting to the MySQL, which is running in your local machine itself, and with the help of Airflow, and it is going to save the database backups into the home directory. So if you like this explanation, if you like this entire videos that we are discussing on, so I request you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it. So I'll keep asking you to do this. And if you haven't shared your friends and family members, please go and do this right away. So we'll discuss a bunch of things where people can use these skills to enhance their goals in the life, like getting up dream jobs into going in stepping into machine learning and data science industry. Fine. So now we are going to do this entire activity as a practically. Still, we have discussed about theoretically and explanation. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the Windows substitute Linux that I'm using. Here is my Ubuntu machine. So, and I'm going to attach the installation steps. If you haven't followed how to install Windows substitute Linux, so please go and do the activity. So first, what I will do, we have discussed about how the entire workflow works, and we have seen two tasks. Now I'm going to show you the database of mine. So what it is insights and what data we are going to dump, because it's important to understand what data is inside of your MySQL and what you're going to dump. So that's why for next 4 to 5 minutes I will quickly show you what my MySQL data look like, and what insights and what user data and records are inside. For that, I'll pass the sudo command to connect with my MySQL, and -u is a username, root, and -p is the password that I'm going to enter here. So this is the command I have taken. Now I have entered into MySQL. So what I will do, so shader, I'll look for databases. Show databases is the command. So I'll use it. So currently I have three databases: user details, perform schema, and information schema. So these two databases comes along with my MySQL. Now my data resides instead of this user details. So for that, what I will do, I'll use this database. Use user underscore details is a command to switch or change to this database. Now I'm at the database, and now I'm going to do and I'm going to look for tables. Show tables is the command. So I have a user table here, and I'm going to get all my data which is inside of my user underscore details. For that, the command is select star from user underscore details. So if I enter this command, delete spelling mistake. Oh, but so this is the mm, command is use. Are we in the correct database? I think we are in the correct database. Let me see. Show tables. So we have it. Select star from users. My bad. And oh yeah, I just passed the wrong query. Instead of retrieving data from tables, I have passing it my entire database. My bad, sorry guys. So here we have the data, which is ID, and we have the username and in the country. So we have the username as a superheroes. If you don't watch Marvels and DC, so Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Iron Man, Black Panther, Thor, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Aquaman, again repeatedly. So we have hundreds of people user data, which is a username and their country. So they are from USA and Atlantic and Canada, Asgard, if you haven't watched the superhero comics. So yeah, so here we have this data. Now we are going to dumping this data from our MySQL as per the diagram that we are going to see here. So here we have the data into resides of user details as a database name, and the table is users. And we are going to copy of the data, and we are going to store into a home directory with the help of Airflow server. And we have seen the workflow that we have connected to the how we are going to connect to the MySQL with the help of Airflow. Fine. So I hope it is clear, like the database that we have shown. So I'll exit it from my MySQL and I'll clear the screen. Now I'm going to take this entire code which I have written. I'm going to take this code and I'm going to back to the directory. The name is Airflow and the dags. So this is where you need to keep your workflow of your Airflow to get it executed with the Airflow UI. So if I go here into my Airflow UI, I'll show you. Currently, I have inactive dags, which is direct acyclic graph, so which is 69, and I don't have increased here, which is a 69. So before that, what I will do, I will execute a command to run my scheduler in the backend. So otherwise, it won't pick up that suddenly. So I have run the scheduler in the no hope. So yeah, I have copied. I'm going to copy this center source code, and you should keep your dags into this respected directory to get executed with your scheduler. So the directory name is Airflow dags. If you haven't created this directory, I request you to create it, and in your while loading installation. So you can, after that, you can execute your all your workflows. So for that, I'm going to open a Nano editor. I'm a fan of Nano, that's why I'm using a Nano. In case you can use a Vim or VI or any other editors. So Nano, I'm going to give a name as dump.py. So I'm going to paste the entire source code of like an Airflow into the Python extensions, because I have written this code in Python. That's why. So I haven't done any changes. Whatever code we have discussed, I have just pasted over here. I'm going to close it like Control X, Y, Enter. So now I just have created a dump.py is the Python file into my Airflow /dags directory. So what will happen? My Airflow server, I mean web server, will go and pick up this DAG. So if I go here and if I do refresh, I'll see the count of 70 here. Why it is not been actively yet? Let me run my scheduler. I don't know whether my scheduler has ran or not. Come on, buddy. Okay, I ran it. Let me go and refresh it. We should get the count of 70. Yeah, we have seen that one DAG has been appended because this is our custom DAG, which we have written in a Python that we have discussed, and we have told your web server to take this DAG and activate it, and it has to dump the data of MySQL in every minute. But still, it is in inactive state. We need to make it as active. So as I mentioned, our DAG name is, this is our DAG name, which is direct acyclic graph name, and I'm going to copy this DAG name, and I'm going to come to our Airflow web UI. I'm going to copy here and paste here. I can see the filter, so it is matching here. So which is inactive now, currently it hasn't ran, but it is showing it's a 8, because see, this data is not the latest run, because I have running before making this video. That's why it is showing as a 8. Currently it has not been run. So if I enact, if I make it as active, which is I'm going to play this in. So what will happen, this DAG will get activated, and I'm going to show into this home directory. Currently, I don't have any dumps of my MySQL database, which is user details. So if I do activate it every minute, this task will get executed, and we can see imaging graph level also. We'll see the logs, how it is executing, and every minute, each one of the database dump will come and save into this home directory. Let's do that and see how it can make it as practical. So I'll just as play it, and every 1 minute it is going to run and it is going to execute it. So you just have ran it. So if you see this ninth run, so you just have executed now. So if we go to graph, so it will have amazing UI. First task of mine is connecting to DB. If I click here, I can see the logs, and it has saying that authentication plugin class, and you take in the plugin name with authentication plugin. So you can see it's successfully connected to the MySQL database, which means first task of ours have successfully completed. Let's go to second task. So if I go to logs, and I can see where DB name, DB backup, DAG every 1 minute, and current log done running status, and it is being chewed. So yeah, it has successfully executed, but with lag has to become here. So this is a starting date, and it has successfully executed. But yeah, we haven't shown we haven't printed everything on log, but that's why it is not showing. But it has a green symbol saying that it has successfully completed. And if I go to this home directory, I should expect one file. oh, it's been 2 3 files because like it just keep running it. That's why we got it. Yeah. So every 1 minute, I think during this discussion, minutes has been passed. That's why it has created 2 to 3 files. Every 1 minute, my DAG, I mean this respected task will go and it talk to MySQL, and it will take the data of our user details, and it will save it to our home directory. If I do ls, I'm expecting more files. So this is how every minute your Airflow here, which is running on your local machine, will go and talk to your MySQL database, and it will take the backup of your MySQL data and save to your local machine itself. So that's what I'm expecting to make you understand by this entire conversation of this practicality and the theory. Yeah, I hope it is clear. We can see that till you are going to smash your entire laptop, it will connect your MySQL, it will save it until unless your entire disk is getting fulfilled with this backups only. So because it has already activated, till your inactivation of this DAG, it will keep continuing, keep talking to your MySQL database and taking the dumps. So this is how it's not a single task. You can make a multiple task. Here we have seen we have only two tasks. You can make it as a chain process for 2 to 3 tasks where it has dependencies and all. And can make more dynamic way of connecting to your external databases. It's not only a internal database. You can connect with external databases, and you can make a backups of the database, and even you can store into remote. We will see that in a coming session. But I want you to make understand how this entire Airflow works. Very simple way, and making understand, not making configuration of difficulty. That's why I brought you to make you understand on WSL, which is Windows Subsystem Linux. Fine. I think no queries from your side that it get clear for you. If you still haven't understand, I request you to drop your queries and comments in the video comment section. I'm happy to reply you back. And I'm going to stop this video over here. I hope you guys enjoyed a lot. And the end, I'm going to give a finishing touch that if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I request you to subscribe it and like it and share to your friends and family members. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.